Now, The Innocence of Muslims is a controversial video created by a man named Nikula, among many of his names that he's known by. I just picked that one because that one's hilarious. Nikula. Anyway, that was made back in 2012. That caused a little bit of unrest in the Middle East. Now, this video did not portray Islam in a very good light, something I really could care less about, as I really don't care about religion as a whole. Islam, Christianity, Judaism, don't really care. But the outrage it caused was significant enough for a lot of people to try to get the video taken down from YouTube. A lot of Muslim companies countries asked to get it taken off the air, off the internet, and even the United States asked as well. To which YouTube gave a hearty middle finger. I don't think so. That's free speech. We're going to keep it up. To which I actually agree with. YouTube, free speech. Keep it up there if you want. Except that just recently YouTube was forced by a judge to pull the video. The Federal Appeals Court of California and the Ninth Circuit ordered YouTube to remove the video because it said that one of the actresses, named Cindy Lee Garcia, claims copyright to her acting in the film, and that the infringement of the copyright has led to death threats against Ms. Garcia. It is that reason that she is that she brought this case to the court that led to this decision. Now, here we don't condone death threats, but remember, she was paid $500 to appear in this ridiculous film. Now, Judge Alex Kaczynski wrote the majority opinion that filmmaker Nikula, I love that name, lied to Ms. Garcia about the movie. He also said that her performance could be copyrighted. So that's sort of the basis for the majority opinion. Now, Google, that owns YouTube, is not happy about this, saying that we strongly disagree with this ruling and we will fight it. Now, the dissenting opinion, written by Judge N.R. Smith, said the majority opinion was an improper reading of copyright law and that the video is in the public interest. He wrote the majority makes new law in this circuit in order to reach the result it seeks. We have never held that an actress's performance could be copyrightable. And it's also pretty strange that as actors, they don't usually copyright their performances in someone else's movie. To me, that's kind of strange. So I want to go to the panel and get your thoughts on this whole ordeal. And Jordan, go ahead and start us off.
Yeah, sure. Thanks for the opportunity to start off here, man. This
is pick first.
I do. This is really an issue, I guess, of who's telling the truth. Because, like, if you're talking an issue of censorship, like, because obviously the Innocence of Muslims video has caused problems. Not to say that it's guilty of the whole Benghazi issue, which I think has been disproven on one side, while at the same time, what has also been proven is that Benghazi is more complicated than certain people want it to be. But anyway, so this is a complicated video that's caused issues, but at the same time, in America, that's not an excuse to take a video down. Like, we are a freedom of speech country, and so if you say horrific, stupid things, whether that's about Islam or Christianity, which I'm a Christian, I'm not a Muslim, but at the same time, like, if you want to say crazy things about Christianity, you get to in America. If you want to say crazy things about Islam, you get to in America. About Buddhism, you get to in America. That's what we're founded on. I may disagree with you. I may think it's insensitive as a person of faith, but that doesn't matter because my predispositions about my feelings don't determine constitutional law. However, if what the court is saying is true, if this actress was, did break if the studio, I guess, did break precedent and promised this actress a copyright, even though that's not typical, if they did, then they have to honor that. And so it comes down to, what do the facts bear out? If this is an issue of a court, whether or not it's in favor of the Obama administration, who I'm going to lean towards supporting, if they're trying to hush this up, and make it seem like it's a problematic issue, that's crazy. That's a First Amendment violation. However, if it truly is a copyright violation, then that's part of U.S. law. You know, like if this actress was promised a copyright, clause, I don't care if that's typical or not. If this actress was promised that, then she gets that. That just seems fair to me. And we've heard this from the beginning. Even, before the crazy Benghazi attacks and all this stuff, we've heard that actors and actresses have come out and said, like, this movie was not what we were told it was going to be. This movie was edited in a way that was different than what we were told we were portraying. And so that kind of makes me side both with the actress and with the court here. Like, the producers of this movie seem like they had an agenda, and that it was even, I say this as a non-Muslim, that it was a fairly shady agenda, from the get-go. Like, they were trying to paint Islam in a certain light, and they tricked people into doing it. And if part of that process was telling people, we'll give you a copyright credit, and then pulling that away or whatever, then those people who were promised that copyright credit, they get the authority to pull this thing down. But if it's being pulled down because it has the potential of being religiously offensive, then no way. So it all comes down here to who's telling the truth. As much as I would love this video to be pulled down because, it does seem offensive, that doesn't matter. Constitutionally, if they were lied to, they have a case. If not, then it needs to stay up. And that's my take on it.
All right, Daniel, thoughts?
Yeah, I've been following this particular case for a while, all the way back to what the original script was originally called. It was called Desert Warrior. They're actually set in Egypt 2,000 years ago, as opposed to the modern day that the trailer shows. Well, when I did see the video earlier, several months ago, that's what I saw. And a lot of overdubbing of lines that you could very obviously see took place. And so in terms of the, being taken advantage of, I think just because of the sheer cartoonish manner in which a lot of the stuff was portrayed, it's very easy to see that the film started in one direction and was very quickly and sloppily taken in another. To what end, we don't know. But I think that this is one of the true free speech issues that we've dealt with recently, as opposed to some others that we've seen in the media. Like the Phil Robertson thing. It's not so much about free speech as opposed to what your employer thinks when you're making statements on their time for a publication. What they are arguing here is that essentially that, regardless of Desert Warrior or whatever, this is our opinion on how we want Islam to be portrayed from our whatever their worldview is, whether that's killing, talking to donkeys, and mixing the New Testament and the Torah, like you see in that trailer. That, like I said, is free speech, and that's the kind of stuff we have to be comfortable with in this country. Those are the laws under which we live, and this seems to be a situation where folks who are typically free speech proponents are like, oh, I don't know about that, and you can't have it both ways under the letter of the law.
All right, Sean.
Yeah, so I'm against this decision. I think they should have left the video up. I don't understand how this actress is claiming copyright on her performance in the movie. I don't get how that works. It's very rare if it exists at all. So I'm just gonna come out against that. But to her point, she was tricked into doing the film. Like, they had no idea that that this was going to be so heavily dubbed over and all that. And she is getting threatened, and I feel bad for her being threatened and all that. But at the end of the day, she did sign a contract. She is in the movie. The movie's obviously not her voices or anything. It's just her physical face in the movie, which is bad enough for the people who are sending her death threats. But it is a free speech issue. Like, she got paid for it, and they shouldn't take it down. And the thing is I feel like the reason that it's been taken down is because it's Muslims, right? And I don't want to pull Fox News on you, but I'll actually bring some facts to the table. If you guys remember the South Park episode with the Muhammad thing, where the whole point of the South Park episode was they were like literally taking a crap on every other religious figure in that episode, but they wouldn't let them show Muhammad because the Muslims would get mad. So I don't like that there are sort of special rules in like cases like that. So I'm totally against this, and I think that the video should be put back up and should be viewed by like 4 people or whatever, since it's not very good.
Right. I wanted to ask if you guys think that this copyright claim is sort of a stealth way to try to remove this video because of its being offensive.
Absolutely. I think that of all the people that could have come forward with the copyright, why wasn't it a producer or a member of the crew, someone that had a more direct link to the actual formation of the film, rather than just a random actress from what was a crew? And I think with the crew and the actors, they say it was about 80 people there. So it's just very strange that this one particular actress was singled out to carry the load for this case, as opposed to folks from, even if you wanted to do it from a professional standpoint, say SAG or things like that, may have had more of a sound case just from the outside looking in.
Right, and she only had a minor role in this, too.
Right.
She had a very small role. And as far as the point that you made, Sean, about the contract and how they, and I know you made this point too, Daniel, that she was that her voice was dubbed over by somebody else, and that basically you were saying that they messed with her contract, they lied to her. So instead of pulling the video, why don't they just pay her damages for breaking that contract? Because I kind of see that as a breach of contract, since they did lie to her about the kind of role that she'd be playing in the video. I think that Nakula should be forced to pay them for it, but not to remove the video itself, since I think the video is more of a free speech issue. I don't know. What are your thoughts on that?
Yeah, let me go ahead and jump in here. If I have permission to not necessarily answer your question, I kind of want to push back against Sean and Daniel.
Have at it.
Now, I do this, full disclosure, and I want to be honest. I never want to misrepresent myself, because I'm a person that, as a person of faith, not a Muslim, but as a Christian, like, whenever I watch a different faith represent itself, I want to make sure I'm watching that in the most honest, representation I can. And I don't feel like this video is an honest representation of Islam. So I'm not as familiar of this video as, maybe other people are. But I do feel like we are in agreement here that, like, the producers of this video, lied to the actors and actresses to get them on the video. So to kind of push back against Dan and Sean's position, like, if the producers were able to or were willing to lie about that, it seems like it's perfectly reasonable then that it's not the producers who are upset about copyright infringement, it's the actors and actresses, because the producers were the ones doing the lying, and the actors and actresses were the ones being taken advantage of. So if the producers were willing to lie about that, it seems like they were willing to lie about copyright, and it seems like the actors and actresses would be the ones who brought it up, not the producers. But that said, that's all conjecture on my part. I don't know,
It seems a lot like it's a contractual disagreement.
Yeah, truly. And that's why this needs to be in the courts where it is. Because the courts, the judicial branches, who we, in our American system, rely on figuring this kind of stuff out. That's why we have 3 branches of government, supposedly. So I guess ultimately, that's where I fall. Like, if it comes out that this actress is making this crap up and it's totally untrue, then YouTube should be allowed to put it back up. Like, that's the First Amendment, Although I will say YouTube is not a government entity. They're a private company. They can take down or put up whatever they want to. It does seem kind of weird that the government, particularly our presidential administration right now, wants to associate this video with negative action in parts of the world, specifically in Libya, and then it gets pulled down, which seems to enforce that opinion. However, it does, at the same time, seem to be getting pulled down for a different reason. Not because it's offensive, but because of a legal obligation. So I think what we have to do as Americans is let that run its course, and if it does turn out to have been pulled down because of legal or contractual obligations, then that's perfectly American to me. However, if it seems like it's getting pulled down because it's possibly offensive to a people group or whatever, like, that's a horrible thing, but that's not how the Constitution works. Like, I'm sorry, like, lots of things happen that offend me. That doesn't make it constitutional for me to get rid of them. The same is true of this video. So that's kind of where I come down.
Yeah, like I compare this more towards my friends who like occasionally like go do photo shoots or whatever, or people who go into stock photos. Like, you don't own the copyright of those photos, and if they told you it was going to be, and if you sign a contract that's broad enough that allows them to use them in different ways, and your photo ends up right next to an AIDS medication or a herpes medication ad, and you're upset about that, like, that's a sad day for you because you signed that contract. Like,
and that's really unfortunate.
Yeah, but
no, but that's not what's going on here. If what this actress says is true, if the producers explicitly told her, you get a copyright on your work, that's different than taking a stock photo. I mean,
like I said,
right?
Well, it totally depends, because there are instances where you do a photo shoot and they give you the right to post it, right? Which technically might be a copyright, but they can still use your photos in their ads any way that they want. They're just giving you the right to post it on your own personal website or whatever. So there are certain issues like that. And also, like, lots of films change from what they originally are, so there usually are broader contracts when it comes to editing and stuff like that. Or else every actor who was in a shitty movie, like any actor who's ever been in an M. Night Shyamalan movie, would be really upset and like sue M. Night Shyamalan for being a horrible director and a bad person who ruined Avatar: The Last Airbender. But that's not related. The point is to me, it's a free speech issue. It seems like this copyright thing is made up, and there's no documentation other than this actress's word, and the court took that over the production team, which obviously did lie in some instances, but like it feels like they're taking it down because of the content of the video. Like, that's the only reason.
Wait, hold on. Do we know there's no other documentation besides the actress's word, or is that speculation?
There's nothing that's been documented and shown that we know.
All right. Well, I mean, like I said, I'm just saying, like, my position on this issue could go completely either way. If this, if the facts come out and this turns out to be like, hey, we took this video down because it was offensive, I'm totally against it. If the facts come out and it's like, hey, we took this video down because this chick had a copyright claim that was violated, then I'm totally for it. I don't care how offensive it is. The First Amendment trumps offense. Like, you get free speech, period.
I think either way, it should be put back up, despite it being a horrible movie. Not only like does it just suck, but it's also incredibly offensive. But it should still be put up, because that's a free speech issue. And I think whatever contractual issues they have, they should settle it without actually affecting the video itself. Because I think the contract is what you should really focus on, and she should probably get reimbursement if her copyright claim is true. But don't pull the video, or at least have them edit her out. If she had such a minor role, they can just edit her out and throw it back up. Problem solved. I'm a problem solver. That's what I do. Anyway, that's just my take on it. Does anybody have anything else to add?
Yeah, right. One more thing. Like I feel bad for the actress and all the actors involved, because they'll probably never get work again. They're getting death threats and all that.
Oh, I agree. I'm with you there.
Like, I feel horrible. This production company obviously lied to them. They made a shitty film that was supposed to get people like enraged at Muslims, or supposed to enrage Muslims against Americans or whatever. Like, it was just a shitty film, but you can't just take it down because some people were offended. This was like when the guy got arrested for a probation violation after, and I felt like the reason that they went so hard to investigate him and try and violate his parole was because people were calling for his arrest and protesting at our embassies, and they just wanted that headline out there that he was put in jail. So I don't like this. I don't like end runarounds of free speech, and I think this copyright of your performance is made up.
Right, and you know, as Americans, we all have the right to make shitty, horrible, stupid films, and so that's why that's about the only reason that I'm saying that the video should stay up, despite it being horrible and shitty. So
Hold on.
it's free speech.
Let me step in here, and maybe Daniel wants to jump in and back me up on this because he's also a father. But like, as much as I value the First Amendment and free speech, even if it's something I disagree with, if somebody comes in and tells me, "Hey, you're going to get a copyright, on your performance in this," and then that movie, it turns out they were lying to me about what my part actually was, and they changed my part, and my family, my children, and my wife start getting a death threat over that, I want that crap pulled down. To me,
Have them edit you out. There's no reason to pull the entire film if they can edit you out.
But that's not what they're doing. They haven't edited me out. So if they haven't edited me out, then the way I can take action at that point is to take legal action and to say, hey, I've got a copyright on this. They're violating my copyright. Let's do something about it.
But I still think that's a contractual dispute.
Well, it is, but while that contractual dispute is being worked out, don't they have an obligation to pull it down?
The entire movie shouldn't have to be pulled because you have a problem with one part. That's what I'm saying, though.
And the people who are threatening them
are assholes.
Over a film that was obviously a scam on the actors and actresses aren't, like, I really don't think that they're, like, if they are going to, like, commit violence against these people, they're going to be like, oh, wait, she got edited out of that one scene. Like, we're not going to kill her. Like, if they're going to hurt you, they're going to hurt you. And I feel bad for saying that, but, like, those are the people who are the worst in this story. Like, you have horrible people who lie to actors and actresses. You have actors and actresses who made a bad decision, but they didn't know, so, like, they're not bad people. But then you have the worst of the worst, the people who are killing and threatening violence over a film, which, by the way, isn't really a film. It's a 12-minute YouTube video, like, with poor production value. Like, I could wrangle some money together and put up a better production than that.
We could do better production value than that video.
Well, let's not get carried away. But, Sean, I agree with you. But at the same time, I agree with you recognizing I haven't been in this situation. If I've been promised a copyright and people are coming after my family because that copyright's been violated, I'm going to do whatever it takes to keep my family safe. And if that means pulling that video down, then that's what I'm going to fight for. Now, again, I'm that argument depends on this actress telling the truth, and that's what the courts are trying to figure out. Yeah, but people like me and Daniel who are fathers, I think we can agree, like if that's the truth, that's a reasonable position to take, man. Like, my kids have no say-so over what happens with what I do. But if they're being threatened for it, then I have an obligation and a duty to keep them safe.
All right, speaking of Daniel, why don't you jump in?
Yeah.
There we go. I absolutely agree with Jordan. I think that at some point in time, government statutes are overshadowed by what you do in your life, your day-to-day life, your family life, your professional life, and so on and so forth. And, while it's important for the law to have its way, all the time, the laws were meant for us to be able to live our lives as easy and as unfearful as possible. And if the law here is, endangering people. I don't think people potentially being killed because they participated in something that turned out to be not what they thought it was is, just deserts to maintaining the letter of the law. And that's looking at it in a worst case scenario there, but we seem to be in that, the country is in that area of groupthink when they look at situations like this nowadays. If it were me, I would feel very much like Jordan. Not only do I have a family and things, but in my professional life, I mean, I work with nonprofits with people of many, many diverse backgrounds. And if they see me in a trailer where I said, oh, I'm supposed to help build a pyramid, but now I'm standing on that pyramid with a spear, killing people with it as it comes back to me and all this other fantastical crap that was not part of my contract, then that could cause problems for me that the First Amendment can't fix. And so, that's where it gets down to. And that's the level that most people think about the law in general, free speech or not, today. It's like, it's not, oh yeah, well, the Second Amendment didn't get was broken here, but it's affecting my life, it's affecting my work, it's affecting the people that I love. Those will be the responses that you get.
Right, Sean, I'm pretty sure you want to respond.
Yeah, I totally disagree with that. I don't think that the First Amendment becomes invalid as soon as the craziest person in the room threatens violence. Like, I don't agree with that. To me, the copyright thing, if it's not written down, it's like when you're doing porn and the guy tells the girl that if she regrets it within 60 days, then she could call him and he'll delete the tapes. But he never has that written down as an agreement, then that's not really a valid contract. If it doesn't specifically say that in your written agreement, then I don't know what we're talking about here. And like, I've seen no evidence in this story that she actually had this fantastical personal copyright that I've never heard of before on her specific performance that was like 24 seconds in the movie. So,
I think we have. Like, we've had enough, at least for a judge to take action on it. And we've certainly had enough to know that the producers of this film lied to actors and actresses in a major way. So, I mean, again, it comes down, like, Sean, if you're right, then I'm totally with you. I can't stress that enough. If the proof comes out that she's not being honest, then it sucks that she was, taken advantage of. But First Amendment, trumps all in America. That's the way, that's what we founded on. But if she was promised these things, then the producers of this film need to honor those things. And I guess my point is, we don't know what the truth was. Was she promised these things or was she not? But it seems like we have enough evidence to show that she was for a judge to take action. And we certainly have enough to believe that the producers of the film misled her about her part. So it seems like of those two possibilities, the one that's most likely true is that she was promised something and misled. But I could be wrong. But until I'm proved wrong, it's not a First Amendment violation. Once I'm proved wrong, then it's certainly a First Amendment violation.
But it doesn't make any sense that you could just go back. What if the movie wasn't like deceptive, but was just really bad, and she wanted to get rid of it? Could she sue then and say, I own the copyright to my performance? Like, it's a ridiculous premise. And again, there was enough evidence for the majority opinion. I mean, the dissenting opinion clearly says we've never ever had this before in this court case. Like, it's the first time, and it'll be like a one-time only thing where we've upheld that an actor or actress has the copyright on his or her own performance. Like, to me, it's specifically the reason that this case was decided in the way it was is because it was the Innocence of Muslims film. If this was an actor, actress in an M. Night Shyamalan film who didn't like that it ruined their career, then they would not have been able to sue the studio or whatever because they owned a copyright on their performance. based on a verbal agreement. Like, it's not happening.
All right. I think we're pretty much tied on this one. I just want to put in before we go to the next segment here. I just want to throw in my sort of final 2 cents on this one. Is that I think that there are other ways in order to settle this, what seems to me to be a contractual dispute from a very disreputable filmmaker. But, pulling the video, I don't agree with it. It's First Amendment. Put the video up there and have them settle their dispute on their own time and their own means. So that's just my opinion on this. Obviously, the panel is evenly split. Hey, if you enjoyed this clip, make sure to like and leave a comment below, or even share. Sharing is caring. If you want to see more TYT Nation videos, go to our YouTube channel, youtube.com/TYT Nation. Thank you for watching.